All right, so gather round close. Second chapter. This one's a bit spooky. Emily's flashlight flickered momentarily as she ventured deeper into the asylum's labyrinthine halls. The air grew colder and heavier, as if the very walls exhaled a breath of despair. Shadows clung to every corner, shifting and twisting just beyond her sight. The faint sound of dripping water echoed somewhere in the distance, each drop a reminder of the asylum's decay and abandonment. As she walked, Emily noticed strange markings scratched into the peeling paint, symbols she didn't recognize, etched with trembling hands or desperate minds. The words, "Help me," appeared repeatedly, sometimes barely legible, other times carved with urgency and anger. The groaning of the building seemed to respond to her presence, as if warning her to turn back. Her path brought her to what once was the therapy room. The door creaked on rusty hinges as she pushed it open, revealing a small chamber cluttered with broken chairs and shattered glass. On a dusty table lay a faded photograph of a family, a mother holding a child named Samuel, his wide eyes staring back as if warning her. The connection to the boy from the journal was undeniable. Suddenly, the temperature plummeted, and a soft whisper floated through the room, barely audible but unmistakably there. "Emily, help us." The voice was fragile, full of sorrow and desperation. Her heart pounded as she answered aloud, "Who's there? What do you want?" No reply came, but the room began to shimmer, and a faint figure appeared near the window, a translucent boy with sorrowful eyes. Samuel. He moved silently, his gaze pleading. Emily reached out her hand, but he vanished into the darkness, leaving only a cold spot where he stood. Determined, Emily pressed on, guided now by the presence she could neither see nor fully understand. She uncovered more secrets, diaries from patients, letters never sent, accounts of cruel experiments and lost hope. Each discovery deepened the story of Ravenscroft's tragedy, a tapestry woven with pain and longing. But the asylum was not passive. Doors slammed shut behind her, distant screams echoed down empty halls, and shadows grew bolder. Emily realized the spirits were not just trapped. They were restless, angry, and desperate to be heard. Emily's flashlight barely pierced the oppressive darkness as she descended the narrow staircase into the asylum's basement, a place the staff rarely talked about and where the worst horrors were said to have taken root. The stale air was thick with the scent of mildew and something unidentifiably foul, pressing heavily against her lungs with each breath. The flickering beam danced over rusted metal doors, broken pipes, and puddles of stagnant water reflecting the faint glow. Every step echoed ominously in the vast underground maze. It was here, Emily knew, that many patients had been locked away against their will, left to suffer in silence, forgotten by the outside world. Whispers grew louder now, soft, overlapping voices weaving together in a haunting chorus. They seemed to seep from the cracked walls themselves, filled with longing, regret, and fear. Emily paused to listen closely, heart pounding as she tried to catch words amid the murmurs. She caught fragments. Freedom. Don't forget us. Save us. Suddenly, lights flickered above, casting grotesque shadows that twisted like reaching hands. A cold breeze swept through the basement, chilling her to the bone despite the heavy jacket she wore. Ahead, a heavy iron door stood slightly ajar, revealing a narrow, pitch-black corridor beyond. Summoning every ounce of courage, Emily stepped through the threshold. The corridor stretched endlessly, the walls closing in as the whispers turned into agonized cries. The floor beneath her was littered with shards of broken glass and tattered clothing. An oppressive weight settled on her chest, and she struggled to keep her breath steady. Then, through the darkness, a soft light appeared, pulsing gently like the heartbeat of the asylum itself. Drawn toward it, Emily found a small, forgotten room. Inside was a makeshift shrine, faded photographs, worn toys, and candles long since extinguished. Centered on the altar was a locket, its surface engraved with the name Samuel. A chill ran through Emily as memories of the ghostly boy surfaced, the spirit who guided her through the asylum's suffering. She whispered, "I'm here, Samuel. I promise to tell your story." Suddenly, the room seemed to pulse with unseen energy. The shadows converged into a swirling mist, coalescing into the shape of a small boy. Samuel's translucent face bore an expression of sorrow and hope as he reached out to her. By now, the sun had long disappeared behind the mountains, and Emily found herself deeper within Ravenscroft Asylum than she'd ever imagined possible. Her flashlight struggled against the engulfing darkness, flickering occasionally, as if the building itself was resisting her presence. The deeper she went, the more suffocating the atmosphere became, a thick veil of despair that clung to her skin. She had reached the old surgery wing, a place whispered about in the darkest tales. The long corridor was lined with rusted operating tables, stained walls, and shattered glass instruments that looked like they hadn't been touched in decades. The faint scent of antiseptic mixed with something metallic lingered in the stale air, a ghostly residue from past atrocities. Emily's footsteps were muffled by the thick layer of dust, but there was a rhythm, a slow, deliberate tapping echoing from the end of the hall. Her pulse quickened. The sound was unlike anything natural, almost like fingernails rapping against metal. As she cautiously approached, the temperature dropped further. Frost formed on the cracked tiles, and each breath she exhaled crystallized in the cold air. Then, as if summoned by her fear, the whispers began again, this time clearer and more urgent. "Leave this place before it's too late," the voices murmured, overlapping like a choir of tortured souls. Emily paused to listen closely, heart pounding as she tried to catch words amid the murmurs. She caught fragments. "Freedom. Don't forget us. Save us." Suddenly, a cold gust swept through the room, extinguishing her flashlight. Plunged into pitch blackness, Emily's breath hitched. Moments later, a faint, ghostly glow appeared in the corner, an apparition coalescing into the figure of a doctor, clad in a tattered lab coat, with hollow eyes burning with malevolent intent. Before she could react, Emily felt a piercing pain shoot through. The story isn't over. In the next part, something even darker. I'm Himmel, and I'll be waiting for you. Until then, keep your lights on, just in case.